Welcome to the blacksmith shop. I'm Lin Rhea from the Historic Arkansas Museum. And although we've got a fire going, our little demonstration this morning is going to be, I'll get the door.
Oh, here, man.
Our demonstration today is going to be putting a handle in a hammer. A few weeks back, we re-hardened the face and the peen of a hammerhead that we've been using for a long time. So today we've got the handle sort of roughed in, and although it's pretty good, it's about right. We could use it just like that, but we went ahead and got it to where it's ready to go on the head. It's got the slot cut, and we got the wedges ready and all. We're gonna go ahead and install this on the handle so you can watch how we do it, and we'll get it tight. It'll be usable, but we're gonna go ahead and install a second wedge too, probably, but that will be off camera. But we thought that the fitting of the handle to the head would be interesting to see. This may be a little bit long, but that's okay. We're gonna, when we're doing making a tool like this, it's sort of almost a personal thing, and there's a preference, and we'll have to just kind of work with it and dial it in. I may have to take a little bit off the handle. Now, you might ask, well, why didn't you use the old handle as the pattern? Well, that's a good way of doing it if you're going to do it exactly the same. Well, we used that handle roughly to get the size, but this handle's slightly longer because historically the handle of the hammers were longer than they are today. They were a little bit longer. So I want that option to be with this this hammer. I'd like to have that as an option. So let's just, I'm trying to again decide top and bottom. I'm having my doubts. I think that's it right there. I've got a front and a back because this is handmade head. So it's in there, but you see it's not all the way in. So how do we get that on? So let's just watch how that's done. So what we're doing is using the inertia, the weight of the head as its own anvil, and we tap it here and the head jumps each hammer blow. But we can feel when it bottoms out and it gets tight, and we don't want to go too far or we may break some of these fibers on the wood. So I can still, okay, it just bottomed out. So the fact that it's on and doesn't want to go farther means we need to stop. And I have a wedge that's kind of ready to go. And if all this is protruding through the head too much, then we'll take some of that off after all this is done. I want it to flare and fill this hole and get a good purchase. Now I'll start by doing that, and then we'll turn that over, and the same motion that we were using to tighten the head will also tighten the wedge. We're just going to lightly tighten it, and we're going to check it. It looks like it's going okay. So the entire thing, by me striking on the handle, the inertia will keep that tight to the handle, but it also is driving the wedge up into it. And that is a saw cut. That's a saw cut that goes about 2/3 of the way through the head. So we've already checked it and measured it and checked it again, double and triple checked it. So we're flaring this part of the wood wider so it's got a good purchase on that head. So let's continue on and see how far it'll go. It may bend over and break. Once it goes as far as it can, it don't want to go any farther. It'll start deforming. So I just keep checking it. It's still going. hitting it a little bit harder, and it may, if I were to hit right on that, directly on that wedge, it'd probably start busting the fibers, but on this splatter surface, if I'm feeling the flatness of it, it's almost flush with that, but it's so tight that it doesn't really want to go anymore. It's flared it out. At this point, this is a usable hammer. It's locked on there pretty good. Sometimes you can use a modern glue. Look at that, it went ahead and flushed up almost. You can use a modern glue that does two things. It lubricates it so it'll go in easier, but also when it, in about 2 or 3 minutes, it's set, it's locked on. But this don't have any glue on it. We may, in the future, we may glue one. So you can also see there's another little kerf, saw kerf, and we'll take a cold chisel and we'll start a groove right there, and we may drive this wedge in there too and see how far it'll go. But that'll sort of flare it this way. But we don't overemphasize that too much. It's just there to assist the other wedge. But now that the handle is on, and we may take a rasp and fine tune it. I think the handle length is about right. The length of it is more of a counterbalance. If you get it too long, it starts getting unwieldy. In fact, if you're working, let's just use this hammer. Say you're working on something over here, and we've seen this happen before, so we know. You come down there for a swing, and that hits and it throws it forward, and you miss completely, and you might even get hurt. So the handle can be too long. So 99% of the time we're working perpendicular to the main part of the handle. So it's it's a kind of a personal thing. It's individual. If you need a longer handle, you make a longer handle. But we make our handles. We make our handles. So we like it to fit us. So we thought it'd be neat to show you guys how this works and how we use a wedge. We grind some of that off. This one is ground almost smooth. And in the blacksmith shop, a protruding handle out of the head usually signifies that it is a tool that is meant to be struck with another hammer. For instance, this obviously sticks out the top of the head. This tool has a hardened face and a soft striking surface. This is a striking surface, and this is called a set hammer. But since this piece of steel is hardened on one side and meant to be struck, the handle sticks out. We do that, the blacksmith would do that as sort of a code, an indicator that this tool is not a hammer. It is a set tool or a set hammer. It is actually meant to be struck, and it won't damage the hardened face of your striking hammer, and it won't break either one of them because this is soft. So you kind of see that indicates that this is a tool that is meant to be struck with another hardened face hammer. Okay, well, that's what I was wanting to share with you, and there's a lot more to using hammers and sets and punches and chisels and hot cuts and handle-held tools. But we wanted to share with you that installation of the handle onto the hammerhead. So we're glad you was able to be with us, and we got some other things that's pretty exciting. We're going to be talking about spurs that you would wear on your shoes, your boots, for riding the horse. That kind of spurs, since we did the horseshoes last week. we're kind of on that theme, and we're discussing that. And when we get more into it and get some pieces forged and they start looking like spurs, we're going to share that with you. So you can look forward to that. Well, thank y'all for being with us today. Again, for the Historic Arkansas Museum, I'm Lin Rhea. Thanks for being here.